Welcome to ELF. We're doing our unit on cycles for the year-long theme, and this one is called bird migration. This is the introduction and conclusion of ELF for the bird migration. As you know, we have the handy-dandy outline right here on the lid of the bin. I still have to attach the conclusion one. But what we're going to start with, stand by, don't move, don't move. What we're going to start with is what you can talk to the kids about in your ELF day. Remember, an ELF day window is 2 hours, and so in that 2-hour time frame, you have 15 minutes to set up or to go over your materials in the hallway, 15 minutes to set up, 15-minute centers that rotate 4 times, so that's 1 hour, and then 15-minute cleanup in the classroom and 15-minute tidying up and putting things away in the closet. So that's your 2-hour window. That's outlined here on the outline. So this is about bird migration. And on the outline we have some opening questions you can ask the students. Mostly how might changes of the fall and the winter affect birds and have them migrate? Which direction do they go when they migrate? Do they need to prepare for migration? And if so, how do they do that? And finally, how do they know where to go? You might want to ask the students, what does the word migration mean? And that would be traveling seasonally to another place. And there's 3 main reasons why a bird would migrate. One would be for food, one for shelter, and one would be for nesting. And then we want to know and ask the kids and get them thinking about what is different in the fall and winter that would affect the birds and cause them to migrate. So, for example, the days are shorter, which means less daylight, which means it's not as warm, and it's not as much time to eat and find food. And it's not as much food to find since it's getting to the end of the season. So, as always, we have a wonderful puppet show for you to cover for the introduction. This has 3 characters and 3 props. So whoever is the chickadee can go ahead and be the props as well. So we have we have Thelma Thrush. Let's see, where is she? Thelma. Oh, they look about the same. Oh, whoops. We have Thelma Thrush. We have Willie Thrush. And last we have this little Cappy chickadee. He only has a very small speaking part, so he can also be the star and the signs, Monday at 6 p.m. and days later. And then you have your handy, the end, so at the end you can all take a bow. The kids love that. So the puppet show is basically about the perils of migration and the hazards that are in the way caused by humans or otherwise predators. And that ties in very, very nicely with our conclusion, which I'm just going to jump right to. This is a crazy game with instructions here on the back. It's called Migration Hazard Tag. And this will be updated and cleaned up for you by the time your ELF runs. This is an outdoor conclusion. You're going to want to draw out with chalk this little diagram on a big portion of the playground with a kind of a bottleneck. So the kids will start at one end and finish at the other. Then we have all these zany props. And you'll have to divide the kids up accordingly. We have pinwheels in here, and those are going to represent wind and weather. We have 2 safe landing pads. These are resting places, so the kids are safe. Remember, this is a game of tag. We have 6 predator scarves, so the kids can wear these as scarves and they're predators. We have a couple of cats. Cat ears, those can also be predators. These are t-shirts representing buildings and development, so a kid could wear those. We have very specific instructions as far as the kids standing still and they're stationary objects. So black t-shirts are stationary objects. These spray bottles are stationary, so those kids can't chase, but they sure can spray birds. And then we also say that the orange gloves are stationary. These represent oil spills. So a kid could have put 1 foot on a spot and then they could just pivot around and try and catch the birds. And then the green ones, green gloves, and you could use, depending on how big your classes are, 1 glove per kid or 2 gloves, depending on how big your class is. Again, the green ones represent human litter and trash. And another thing we have is a strobe light. Please let the adults use this, and I don't know how well it'll show up outside, but we have a strobe light that will represent city lights, and that's confusing to birds that are trying to get to their spot. Last but not least, we have 3 birds, and we might come up with a few more bird type costumes. So these birds are going to try to get from the from the start to the finish in our little bottleneck diagram. And you can just give them a couple minutes to try. This really gets to be kind of a chaotic game, but the kids really, really love it. Of course, it's tag. So this you could again use for your conclusion. You could do smaller groups and throw out a center and use this as a game, or maybe half of the center that talks about migration hazards and then half as the game. For snack choices, we just suggest some bird snacks like maybe fruits and berries, nuts, things that birds might eat to fatten up for the big flight south. That is about the end of our introduction and conclusion. Oh, whoops, one more thing. This could be brought in to a center as well. This is getting out of a bind, and it talks about how a bird or fish even get into human waste of rubber bands or 6-pack bottle rings, and so the point is to try and have the kids see if they can get out of a rubber band without rubbing it on themselves or using their hands, because of course a bird can't really get that. As a bird grows, the rubber band could constrict and tighten and kill the bird. So it's just kind of a hands-on activity so kids can see how hard it is and how important it is to throw away their trash properly. There's 2 ways to tie the rubber band to see if they could get out of it. This would be on the back of a bird, maybe infringing their wings and their usage there. So yes, that is it. If you have any questions, please email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com, and we look forward to hearing about how your bird migration unit goes. Oh, one more thing. Please be sure and clean up all your materials and put them back where you found them. Thank you.